Remix 2.7 introduced official Vite support, making it ideal to migrate our Remix apps to Vite. In today's episode, we'll step-by-step migrate a base Remix app to Vite. With that said, let's get started. To get started, we'll install Vite as a development dependency and replace Remix config with Vite config at the root of our Remix apps. Let's see that in action. First, we'll need to install Vite as a development dependency. With that done, we'll replace Remix.config for a Vite1 at the root of our Remix apps. Step 2 is a simple one. We'll handle hot module replacement and hot data revalidation, removing live reload from our root file and keeping the provided Remix scripts component. On step 3, we'll handle TypeScript integration, renaming Remix.env and updating tsconfig to reference the new Vite types. We'll start by renaming the Remix.env file and updating the reference types for the ones provided by Vite. In the tsconfig, we'll do the same, ensuring skip libcheck is set to true, module to ESNext, and module resolution to bundler. Moving on with step 4, we'll focus on migrating our Remix server to Vite. For that, we'll update our start scripts and configure our Vite ports and polyfills. Starting with our scripts, we'll update dev, build, and start. Also, in our Vite config, we'll import install globals and call it. With that, we are now currently sitting on top of Vite dev server, as we can see in the current demo. Step 5 is a simple one. We'll simply install Vite.tsconfig paths as a development dependency and configure it. Let's do that. We'll start by installing Vite.tsconfig paths and importing it. With that done, we'll simply need to call it inside our defined config as a plugin. Simple, right? Moving on with step 6, we'll simply have to uninstall Remix css-bundle and remove its references. After this, we'll be almost done with the migration. We'll start by uninstalling Remix css-bundle. With that done, we can simply remove it from our root file and import our styles, either global ones, Tailwind ones, or the ones our app uses. Remember to add $URL at the end of your import, as Vite 5.1 or newer requires it. As a last step, we'll simply enable TailwindCSS for our app. For that, we'll add a post CSS file if missing, and update accordingly to achieve our goal. We'll start by adding a post CSS file if missing, and adding TailwindCSS as a plugin. Remember that we'll also need to have it installed. And with that, we've successfully migrated a base Remix app to Vite. This has been simplified a lot to keep it as simple as possible, so I would strongly recommend checking the official Remix docs to gain more insights about it. This concludes today's episode, folks. If you enjoyed it, please consider supporting it, as producing these animated videos takes a significant amount of time. And with that said, remember, it's Vite, not Vite. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.